It has been a full year. It's been a year. It has been one full year since I have not worked for an employer and have been working for myself, and it has been a roller coaster. And so I feel like, you know, throughout this, if you've been following me, especially on Instagram, where I share more day in the life content, that I can really just sit down with you guys. I know a lot of you have been asking me and tapping in with me and checking in, like, how's it been, how's it going, any advice, what are you thinking, are you going back to corporate, you know, all these different questions. So I feel like a nice, just relaxing sit down would be ideal for this conversation. So let's get into it.
Let's hunt it.
Be new to my channel, my name is Akida. I have worked in talent acquisition and human resources for almost a decade of my life, and recently, actually a year ago, decided to no longer continue into corporate America and work for myself as a full-time content creator, as well as start my career consulting business. And truthfully, it's been a whirlwind. It's not, I'm not even going to sit here and lie and give you the most politically correct answers. It's been tough. It's been hard. It's been difficult. It's been a lot of mental gymnastics has gone into getting to this 1 year mark, and I felt like, you know, sitting down and talking through this would be the best way to do it. So welcome. So let's get into how I feel. You know, a lot of people have asked me, are you gonna go back into corporate? You know, do you miss it? And I will honestly say I miss the camaraderie and just honestly being a part of like a team, or having coworkers that I see on a regular basis, or we're working towards a common theme, or there's a completion to something. Whereas working for yourself, you're more siloed. You know, you even don't even want to be a bother to other people because they're just as busy as you are. Everyone's wearing so many different hats, whereas in corporate, you do your specialized role, you go home, you take your hat off. But in content creation, or when you're working for yourself and you are a solopreneur, or you have a small team, everything really falls on yourself. So however much output you put into it can determine how much your input is going to be financially. So it's a lot where there's not a lot of room to honestly turn things off. It's just a go, go, go. And I think coming from a place where I've worked in corporate, or just honestly worked since I was 14, having this much flexibility and having no boundaries to how I govern my schedule, how I do my day-to-day, how I manage my money, there was the sky's the limit. And I feel like the best thing that I've learned is to give yourself some grace when you're going to make the transition, because there is a part where mentally you have to kind of prepare yourself for, and you don't really get that until you actually do it. It's something you just can't just experience while you're also working on the job. There's something that mentally that has to kind of click that makes you just settle into what you're doing. And I think that can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how well you are with structure, balance, and having things in place as far as a system, logistics, support, and even just your finances as well. But the question of would I go back? I will tell you this, I have interviewed for positions in talent acquisition, and I don't know if that's where I'm led to continue pursuing my professional career. And the reason why is, right now, if you get on LinkedIn, you're seeing companies taking hit after hit after hit. There are massive layoffs taking place, and a lot of those massive layoffs are taking place are hitting the human resources department, hitting recruiters, hitting talent acquisition, because if they're laying off companies, then there's no need to hire people. So that's why a lot of my recruiter friends, those in the HR industry, are honestly affected by the layoffs, and more to come. And so where that was a thriving area and niche profession, it's it's very shaky right now. And so I think I do have a bit of PTSD, honestly, from reading the signs of toxic workplaces. And I can tell in the interviews now, where not necessarily the roles may be toxic, but I can tell that there's a lack of structure. I can tell when there's some underlying signs of this may be a chaotic environment, and that's just not what I want to be a part of. So I am being very particular about companies that I've interviewed with, doing my own due diligence and homework and asking a friend, like, you know, is this an organization that I see that you're working for? Is it something that you would recommend? And people are very transparent about saying, no girl, no, you don't want to come here, you don't want these problems. So, you know, I think that by the grace of God, I have such a supportive husband who is, I mean, I would not be able to be a year without working for another employer without his support and being able to do that. So I'm very grateful that I have that opportunity to just honestly be able to find myself and get things off the ground. And I compare myself to kind of like a restaurant. You know, they say, you know, restaurants fail within the first year, 1 to 3 years. And so I have been giving myself the grace to adjust. If you are feeling that you're on the fence of if you should quit your job, work for yourself or not, my suggestion honestly would be is take some time off. If you're able to have the opportunity to take FMLA, which is Family Medical Leave Act, if you've been into your job for at least a year, I would suggest honestly transitioning out, meaning make sure your finances are in order, get yourself a couple of months of finances together, pay off a couple things so that way you don't have to worry about it during that time that you're taking. And then also to see how you work with the routine, see how you can develop your schedule, see if it's something that you actually like doing, see if you honestly can balance both, or if you feel like there is room for you to do both. You know, we are also coming up on a recession, so it just may not be wise to jump out there and take on entrepreneurship when things are very uncertain right now. So I would really just say, if you're able to honestly take leave, and maybe sometimes you may need to take that mental step back, you know, mental step back from constant emails, constant fires, office politics, discrimination, racism, you know, all of the things that honestly take place in corporate America. Is if you're able to just take a step back and freely explore something that you're wanting to do, I would suggest doing that, because that way, again, you still have the safety net of saying, well, if this doesn't work or if I'm not enjoying this, I can just go back. So I would advise people to do that, because I do think it does you a disservice by not exploring something that you want to do, but also honestly and realistically realizing that everyone doesn't have that level of support to be able to just walk away from nearly 6-figure salary and being able to pursue a passion or a side job or something that doesn't have as much security. So I do understand that preface that I have, and would suggest being able to do that. Also, I would suggest getting clarity. I think the biggest thing that I've learned being in this space by myself is that I did not have a lot of clarity. I said I was gonna go the career route, then I changed my mind and wanted to do more lifestyle, then I changed my mind again because I was tugged, you know, in different directions, and just not being very clear on what it is that Akida wanted to truly do and can put their focus in. And I feel like it has taken a full year, just as if you're on any new job that you're starting, it takes a year before you finally feel acclimated, before you know all the corporate jargon, before you know who the players are, before you are really settled and known as like, oh, she's the expert in her role. I feel like sometimes it takes a full year before you're on autopilot. And with that, in entrepreneurship or working for yourself, it took me this entire year, it took the entire all 4 seasons for me to mentally get unstuck, for me to find a schedule, for me to get clear on the direction I want to go in, to finally kick into gear, to get some wins. So that way I knew that, all right, you're okay, the train is moving, because there was a period where the train had stopped. And this train had stopped moving. So I was like, okay, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this is not what I should have done. Okay, what do I do? So then, like I said, I feel like I needed this entire year to really know if, okay, maybe I do want to go into go back into corporate. Maybe I want to take up a totally different career path. Maybe there's some different things I need to do within my business, and that clarity has finally come to me now. And I appreciate you guys so much, because honestly, y'all have given me a lot of clarity by the requests that you've made of me. So when I thought I was no longer going to do the career consulting, that's when I had more of a push to, or more of a calling to continue helping those who are wanting to navigate their professional journeys, having challenges within the workplace, wanting to ask for higher salaries. And I feel like now I was like, this is how I help people. And I think I was stuck, honestly, thinking I had to write resumes. And that's something that I feel like I'm not passionate about doing, but I can still offer support and guidance. And I think a lot of times it just takes being confident in knowing what you're doing and having someone who's a subject matter expert to be able to just help and give you that reassurance. And I feel like that's what I do, and that's the feedback that I've been given when I have my career consultations, just that everything's just been a yes, this is just what I needed. I just like keep getting the reassurance that that's where I need to go. And another thing is I was blending everything together, so that was also causing a lot of confusion for me. It was causing a lot of confusion on, I honestly feel like, to my audience, to brands, to even how I pitched myself to clients. I feel like there was a level of confusion because everything was mixed together. So there was my lifestyle content mixed with the career content, mixed with a little bit of, you know, it really was a bit all over the place. And where I don't feel like everyone needs to niche down all the time, I don't feel like that's necessary. I do feel like I needed a separation between church and state, you know, if that makes sense. But I feel like now having a separation, separating my name from my business, making my lifestyle content my name, now I know how to show up. And that was another thing. I didn't really know how to show up. Am I coming on here to be funny? Am I coming on here to show outfits? Am I coming on here to give advice? Am I coming on here to be the HR expert? I had so many hats, I wasn't even sure which direction I was going. And so therefore I wasn't showing up consistently. It was just a big blur to myself. And so you guys have been great just rolling through this journey with me, because it has been a journey, and I appreciate that. You know, y'all could have just left and gone on to other creators who were being more consistent, but my numbers honestly didn't drop. I've had a few people unfollow or unsubscribe, and that's fine. But for the most part, I've stayed pretty steady. And so I think that says a lot about the community that I've built, and that y'all are just solid people. So, you know, as I know I'm gonna grow in different directions, that was just the best thing. And I almost wish hindsight I would have started. This is hair. Which is hair tickling my nose. Whereas hindsight, I feel like, man, I wish I would have had this mental clarity before. And maybe that could have come from maybe hiring a coach, a branding coach or a marketing coach. That could have come from that, but I didn't know where to really spin my wheels. And so it took that time. And now, like I said, separating the two, I now have created my or renamed, and I'm going to be relaunching my new career consulting business called Creative Career Changers. CCC is how I'll be referencing it. And I I am literally pumped about it. Like, I have not been able to sleep because I'm excited about what I'm going to do with CCC. I have been missing, I have turned people down from hanging out because of the effort I put into my website, the services, the digital products, just the direction and more things I know I'm going to be adding to it. So now I'm reinvigorated. I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing and the path I'm supposed to be doing it in, and I'm so excited. And even so, with the lifestyle content, that's not going to change because I've had some really good wins. I have a very successful brand reach out to me, and we have cleared a 4-figure brand deal, and that was new. I hadn't had a brand deal this large, and so being able to just have some success that way, I know that, you know, the hard work is paying off. And if you want to get into content creation, just know that it's a long game. You have to love this game. You have to love creating. You have to be passionate about showing up even when you're not getting paid, so that you can sustain long term. I was always still happy to show up and share my vlogs, or share outfit ideas, or just share, you know, just my life. I love doing that even without getting any money, which I was, thankfully. But if I wasn't, I would still bring out the camera. But where, like I said, I didn't have that clarity on what kind of content to produce, when to produce it, how to post, where I really just got out of my own way, separated the two, and now I feel like I'm getting ready to be on autopilot this spring. And so, you know, as we start getting into March, I just really know now, even if I bring on help, whereas that's an assistant or an operations manager or something, now I have clear direction on what that person can do to help me. You know, even my husband will be like, well, how do I help you? And I'm like, I don't even know. I'm just all over the place. And so now there's, having clarity. And even as much as I want to say this, and I'm not sure where you guys lie with your faith, but I had to go back to my roots, and that's just honestly going back to God and asking for that clarity, and just layman terms, like, God, what is it that you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? How do you want me to orchestrate my life? What is my purpose right now and in this season? And I feel like I really, truthfully, had gotten far away from him, from his voice, from how I needed to show up and how I needed to propel and what my name meant. I just needed to get back to my foundation, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that he hasn't left me. You know, I feel that, like I said, he gave me clarity and gave me exactly what I asked for, and he did it swiftly. And so when he started moving swiftly, moving people around, showing me or bringing people into my life that were like, oh, you need help with this is what you need to do. He started bringing these resources that are going to bring me wealth, which is what I want for myself, for my life, for my family, for my legacy. And like I said, you know, if you ask him, he will give you the desires of your heart. And so even when you're not sure, I would say do that. Go to your faith, ask God, and talk to him like you're talking to me, talking to your homegirl, talking to your homeboy, and just say, what is it that you have for me? And talk to me in layman's terms. Tell me what I need to do. How do you want me to do it? And I'm telling you, I would literally go to sleep and I would wake up, and he would literally say, this is how you need to orchestrate the newsletter. This is what you need to say on this next caption. This is what you need to say. And all these small deposits made things so much seamlessly. I remember before I used to work on like my website, everything just would take so much time. Like my current Akida Mann website has been down for over 2 years. 2 years, because I just wanted to be perfect and this and that, and it's missing. And again, I'm just looking at what everyone else is doing, when really I needed to just focus on myself, keep my eyes in my own lane, so that way I don't feel like I have a wandering eye of keeping up with anyone. And not that I felt there's a comparison, but it's good to have comps. Now, I'm not gonna say, you know, not look at what competitors are doing, but you don't have to have it consume you. Like, I didn't have to talk a certain way. I don't have my website doesn't have to look like somebody else's website to be industry acceptable. My content doesn't have to look like the next person's for it to be acceptable, to be viral. You know, the goal isn't to be viral, it's to be impactful, you know, that way that my content can supersede me, you know, and be of a purpose. And so I think that since that's what I want, he's given me that, and I had to be at peace with it. And so I feel like I'm going a bit of a tangent, but I need to get this all out because there's some of you who say to me, you know, I can't wait till I quit my job, and it's amazing. One thing I will say that I love is the unlimited amount of flexibility. You know, if I have an event or family wants me to go somewhere, or if I'm sick, I've just been able to just shut it down. And who's gonna check me? No one's gonna check me. And just having that flexibility to just say, you know, I'm just tired, I wanna just rest today. I don't have to call out. I can just block my calendar and keep it moving. I can just block my calendar, have a day to just mentally download, or if I just want to just take some time and have with my family, or let's just say I want to do some continuing education. I take a lot of webinars, I attend different lives, anything where I can constantly continue downloading and gaining information and knowledge and resources. I'm doing that. I'm doing that in my professional industry, as well as even learning from the creation side and marketing and branding, and learning how to be a good storyteller and editing. So there's so much information that I'm learning and wanting to learn to continue to elevate myself. But another thing that I really have wanted to focus on this year is building a network and community that is just unique, you know, that feels like that my family can just, or really my community. I really feel like I want my community to be friends with everybody. And I say that loosely, but I feel like I'm always that person that likes matchmaking people. You know, I'm like, oh, you know this person? I know a person over here that does the same thing. Y'all should meet each other. That's how I am. I'll pull people together and be like, you should meet this person, you should meet that person. And I want to create a community where that's happening, and that sparked where even too with my friendships. I have amazing long-term friends. Like, the friends I have in my life, they've been in my life years. One of my longest lasting friends, she's been my best friend since we were 18. Since the first week of college we met each other, and we've been best friends since then. I have another long lasting friend we met when I was 21. We're still friends to this day. So, you know, I have such long lasting friendships, even some that predate from high school, and you know, it can just go on and on. So with that, you know, what I really wish is that all my friends actually knew each other, because they're so dope and so cool, but none of them know each other. So I feel like that's what sparked the type of community that I want to have, is that, you know, even as you guys, I see that y'all even in the comments, y'all are talking back and forth, y'all are making friends with each other, helping each other. And so that also sparked me to create a Facebook group for creative career changers, because as there are companies that are going through different layoffs, and there are companies that are just not even with companies, but people are just not sure how to navigate situations and just need, like, where do I go, who do I go to? And I feel like just having a place where everyone can just come together, everyone can just unwind together, everyone can just help each other with resources. Hey, I know this job is hiring, you know, or here's a referral, you can put my name down, or hey, can you guys help me kind of engage with my content, can you give me advice on my resume? I wanted a place where people can do that holistically and together, where I can bring my community to one place. So it's completely free if you do want to participate in the Creative Career Changers private Facebook group. I will have it linked down below. But I'm sharing all this to say that this came with just some self-reflection that took some time. This all didn't come overnight. It took time for me to get to this stage. Okay, so what I will be doing moving forward is I think I'm gonna start a series, just a very small one, of like the things that I've learned being a full-time entrepreneur, and you know, just kind of give you guys some guidance, some tips, even on like some of the resources I've used. A lot of the things I've done has been by myself. I have not outsourced anything, so I created my own website. I use Squarespace. Let's see, I got my QuickBooks up and running. You know, I created my different LLCs. So there's been so many other things that I've done which has been by myself, so I'm happy to share those resources with you. So if you have any other questions, or you just kind of want to talk through you know, how do I do something, where you can find me, I will definitely advise you guys follow me as well, not only as Akida Mann for my lifestyle content and fashion and beauty things that I love, but also with Creative Career Changers. It has its own Instagram page, it has its own private Facebook group where I will be going live within that private Facebook group. Oh, sorry, I thought my phone was ringing. I will be going live in the private Facebook group as well. You can find me on TikTok, LinkedIn, all the places. And I thank you so much for sticking with me and supporting me like no other. I would not be here without you. So make sure you like this video. It helps me in the YouTube algorithm as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.